This is the story recap of a boy named Dongsu, who has extraordinary powers. He was moving to the bus station and singing a song he had composed. Meanwhile, some people come and take him. They actually kidnap people and sell their organs. They take Dongsu to the doctor and the surgeon removes all the organs from his body. Dongsu was almost dead, but the strange thing was that he was watching the doctor while doing all this. The doctor takes out his eyes, puts them on a tray and goes on the phone. But we see strange tentacles coming out of Dongsu's body, and his body starts to repair itself. The doctor is afraid to see him as he puts his eyes back. While he was finding his other eye, the doctor called the goons, but Dongsu escaped from there. After a few days there was an incident where someone placed a statue of a beautiful lady in the middle of the road. Everyone was watching because she was beautiful, but as they clicked her pictures, the statue was bleeding. Here it is discovered that it was not a statue, but a man who became a statue. And gradually this news spread everywhere and the police will also arrive there. The inspector saves it for a long time. He finds that there are two symbols P and N. Dongsu is shown who put a bandage on his eye and spent his sad life. Suddenly, his eye starts to hurt at night while he was practicing his own song. And with his missing eye he sees the same symbol that was on the body of that statue. He sees many other things and discovers that the man has a Dongsu eye. That's why everything one did was visible to Dongsu. He goes to his job, which was in the junkyard. Meanwhile, there were some people who beat his friend and he tries to help his friend. He was beaten, then one of them pulled out a knife to finish off Dongsu. But Dongsu fights him and during all this, poor Dongsu gets his ear cut. It falls to the ground and when they see it, everyone runs away from there. As they leave, Dongsu picks up his ear and joins them back with his strange powers. A gang that sells body organs was also looking for Dongsu because they found his body and organs to be strange. It will fix itself no matter how much you hurt it, and this type of body is worth $1 billion in the market. After the fight, Dongsu returns home where he practiced his song. But he doesn't know the correct lyrics to the song, so he listens to it again and starts practicing. Meanwhile, he sees a vision of a man who has his eye, and he also listened to his song, but Dongsu's eye started to hurt, so he decided to go there again. The place where he was taken and finds his eye. The people behind him recognized him and tried to capture him. He ran as he ran from them, but a girl named Lee came and saved him. He says, "I know you are Dongsu," and then cuts his leg with a knife. But after a while it recovers and Dongsu escapes from Lee and runs away from there. After her, the book Dongsu Vision is shown, in which everything was written about how to end people and make a statue of them. It was clear that the man who had Dongsu eyes and placed their statue in the city. We see a girl who went to her office listening to the song Dongsu, because the song went viral and she sees another statue in the city that was recently murdered. He tells all this to his friend named Mr. Jin, and his habits were not good, but she likes him. He sings Dongsu's song in front of Mr. Jin and his eyes start to hurt. Dongsu's eyes hurt too. Here it was clear that the man with Dongsu eye was Mr. Jin, and he ended up with people in the city. He finds out that Dongsu eyes know his song, and that's why every time he plays it, his eyes try to connect. He feels pain, and then one day he sees a word in his vision. It was Art of the Corpse, and when he searches it on the net he finds the one who ends up with the people in town. And to make a statue of them is none other than Mr. Jin. To know this, the next day he goes to the friend Mr. Jin and recognizes her, how he saw her in his dream, and asks her who was the man she was with last night. The girl doesn't say anything to him and leaves scared because she feels that he is flirting with her. Dongsu doesn't know anything and doesn't even know what the killer looks like. Dongsu goes to the astrologer and tells him about the symbols he saw and the dates the murders took place. The astrologer says that these things are related and tomorrow's date is also similar according to them. Dongsu understands that there will be a murder tomorrow, but he doesn't know when and where. The girl who likes the advertisement of Mr. Jin was his friend, moves into his house and wanders. Thanks to this, he finds a book in which the method of making the dead was written. He finds out that Mr. Jin is behind all the murders, and the next day there was a statue in town. Everyone goes to see it, and there was a gang standing behind Dongsu, and they see him. They try to catch him, and while they were about to end him, Lee comes and she saved Dongsu again. He says, "Dongsu, I am a novelist and I am writing a novel called Connect, in which superhumans are told as how their body parts reattach even after separation." Lee saved Dongsu, so he thanked her and left while taking her number. On the other hand, Mr. Jin's girlfriend is worried because she discovered the truth. So he takes her to the roof with him and she says, "I know everything who you finished. I know about all the statues," and the man hears them when she says it all. The man she was telling all this to. But because of that, his phone rings. Mr. Jin sees him. He captures him and beats him savagely and then pushes him down from the roof. Mr. Jin's friend faints when he sees all this. Meanwhile, her phone rings with the song Dongsu on it. As the song plays, Dongsu and Mr. Jin eyes hurt, causing Dongsu to see a vision. He sees that Mr. Jin has brutally finished off 2 people, and seeing this, Dongsu comes to Mr. Jin's office. Everyone there also learns about the murder. There was a rush and the police arrived. But Dongsu saw Jin's coat, so he follows him to the washroom. Still unable to see his face, the police arrest Dongsu because they feel he committed the murders. Dongsu says, "Look, I didn't do any murder, and the killer is in the washroom." But no one believes Dongsu, and how can we forget Lee? She saves Dongsu again. Mr. Jin is shown in the office worried because he thought there was no one on the roof besides them. And his eye hurts when he listened to the song Dongsu. He understands that his eye is the root of all problems. It is transplanted, which means that the person with the other eye can see everything that Mr. Jin does. One day Dongsu takes Lee to his house and tells her everything, and starts from childhood. He tells how he fell from a tree and broke his leg, but it automatically calmed down, causing all his friends to call him a monster. "My family also left me," and also tells her about the night when some people kidnapped him. They tore out his eye, which was now Mr. Jin, and he is the one who ends up with everyone in town, and I want him arrested. But I don't know anything about him. Lee is surprised to hear him and says, "Don't worry, I'll support you," and make him wear glasses and say no one will make fun of you. People don't recognize you. But when they go to get something from the market, his posters were there, and the police were looking for him, but suddenly his eyes started to hurt. He sees that Mr. Jin told him when he was taking his picture to stay away or it will be over. He found out that the man whose eye was transplanted was none other than Dongsu. He also learns about another murder. The night Dongsu meets a man when he moves out to find Mr. Jin. He was singing his song, and hearing it, his eye started to hurt and he sees Mr. Jin in the next moment. He chases after him to capture him, and the police also arrive to arrest Dongsu, and he was caught wrong. He can't say that he sees visions that Mr. Jin is behind all the murders. Now he was badly beaten in prison, but Dongsu says, "I'm not the killer, I know who the killer is." The inspector takes him to the roof and hears this, and Dongsu tells him all that Mr. Jin has eyes. Ending them all, he shows his hand to the inspector and breaks it, which automatically connects. The inspector was surprised by all this, and Dongsu jumped from the roof to capture Mr. Jin, because he knows that if he gets hurt or gets hit, it will be okay. On the other side, Jin moves to the doctor surgeon who transplanted Dongsu's eye. The past scene is shown here. When Mr. Jin came to the doctor and said he needed an eye, that's why the doctor gave him Dongsu an eye as an experiment. Mr. Jin also terminates the doctor when he finds out. The gang behind Dongsu comes to check and finds the doctor dead. They find out that Mr. Jin terminated the doctor. Lee and Dongsu were looking for the doctor. Lee sees the man who was behind Dingsu, who was sent by a gang that sells organs. Lee captures him and finishes him off. On the other hand, Dongsu was happy because his song will be launched by his favorite singer. Meanwhile, Mr. Jin dials a number and it was also visible to Dongsu. Here they talk for the first time, and Dongsu asks, "Why are you breaking up with people?" She tells him that I am a cancer patient, and if I can't stay alive because of this disease, neither can humans. Just watch me give people death. Now the police got the dead body of the man who was finished by Lee. They also have evidence against Mr. Jin. Lee cut her neck when she met Dongsu, and after a while it will heal. That means Lee was also connected and says that maybe there are many other people like us. On the other hand, Mr. Jin moves to the singer who called out Dongsu while he adopted the Dongsu getup, and kidnaps the singer and warns Dongsu that he will end the singer if he doesn't get to him by nightfall. The organ-selling gang captures Dongsu, and Lee says, "You leave, I will take care of them." Lee confronts the goons, but when a man cuts her in the face and she begins to heal, they are happy to see it. There was only Dongsu, but now she is the same, and we can get a lot of money by selling their organs. Lee was dominant on them and he runs away from there. On the other hand, the police also got all the evidence against Mr. Jin. He finds Mr. Jin wandering in Dongsu getup, and Dongsu also reaches the place where Jin called him. He knows that Mr. Jin doesn't know the fight and finishes the people while getting a chance to fear them. Meanwhile, Mr. Jin lets off the gas. Because of this, Dongsu passes out and he takes him with him. Lee also went to the monster and said, "Now is the time for you to wake up." It was also like Dongsu and Lee, and he takes him with him. Jin also takes Dongsu to the place where he held the singer. The doctor's body was also hanged, and he put an end to it and would soon turn it into a statue. Seeing the state of singer Dongsu, he apologizes to him. Jin says that I am a cancer patient and will die soon, so I will use Dongsu body, and I will transplant his brain into my body. The body will be from Dongsu, but the brain will be mine. He cuts off Dongsu's finger and shows it to the singer, then locks them in the freezer. This causes the singer to die and Dongsu is furious about it. He was free now and he beats Mr. Jin a lot when he comes out. Lee also gets there with the monster and Jin finds that Lee is attached, then attacks her. But Dongsu comes and beats him a lot and Jin continuously shot Dongsu. He was fine and he also ripped the eye from Jin and was about to finish him off. Meanwhile, a police inspector arrives and forbids him, promising to delete his record. He says you should start your life. Lee and Dongsu feels everything is fine. They were leaving but saw many military helicopters as they also discovered about the Connect and seized them. What will the next chapter be? What will the army do with them? We will find out in season 2. This is where the story recap of the first season ends.